setup.
I am loving this vibe.
Okay, huh?
Amazing.
Okay.
How are you?
Oh, better.
I
Better
can't hear you.
than. Oh, you can't hear me?
It doesn't say that you're muted.
Let me see.
Do you have headphones plugged in or something?
What is happening? Please hold.
Oh, gotta love technology. You've been on my
Oh,
mind a
yeah.
lot today, really all week.
There we are. Okay.
I'm excited to drop in.
Uh, okay, how about now? Can you hear me now? Hello? No. What about now? Can you hear me now? No, yeah. Yeah, let's see.
All right, we will give Maluhia an opportunity to adjust herself on this side. So, my name is Sheena, and this is The Sacred Wild. This is Gene Key Contemplations with The Sacred Wild. And this week we are going to explore, here we go, 36. Says it's
Okay,
connected.
can you hear me now?
Say it
Still
loud.
no?
No.
Okay.
Dang. Do you want me to log
What
in?
about now? Can you hear me now? No?
Are you always logged in on that account? Because I can log
Mm-hmm.
in on my account. Okay.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I always come in on this. Let me.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
Well, we are in the shadow of turbulence, so of course we have to
Mhm.
have some turbulence right now. It's so fitting. This is
Yeah.
humanity as we know it right now, going through turbulence. Let me see. Oh, is it mine?
I don't know. Is your
Oh,
volume
it's
up?
mine. It was my side. I had my microphone hooked up. Oh, ay, ay, ay.
That is fantastic. We did it. We
We
did it.
humanity, teamwork, the gift of teamwork. This is humanity.
Yep. There we go. That-
Oh my gosh, you've been on my heart all week, sister. Do you
Yeah.
have this gene key in your profile?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think
You
so.
know,
I don't
it's
remember
it's
specifically.
the
It's
journey that
not
we
one of
all go
the.
through, but I just, sometimes can just empathically feel connected with people, and I have felt connected with you this week. And this is the journey, the archetype of becoming human, and this is the archetype of the storm.
Hmm.
And so this particular passage is all about turbulence and finding the compassion for ourselves when we can actually recognize how many patterns we have and we've adopted in our society, in our program, and in our early childhood around toxic relating. And we have a lot of messages in our system that we have to learn through our suffering and that we have to learn through crisis. And so the reactive shadow of this gene, which we can see everywhere in society, is very crisis prone. In a repressive nature, this can be nervousness.
Yeah.
And really, this gene is a lot about the fall from Eden. And so it
Mhm.
can really come in a lot of our feeling like we got robbed out of paradise. That what we signed up for was not what we are experiencing here now. And this also relates to a lot of our early biology the ways that we were cared for, and a lot of our sexuality. And so our early programming around our sexuality is going to be one of the ways that we learn, because in so much of our programming, we think that we have to learn through crisis and suffering and all these low vibrational things. So we keep repeating them over and over and over again. And then we can, you know, create these experiences because we've become so accustomed to learning through everything had to be so hard that we don't even trust another way to learn. We're like, no, 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 I got this. It's going to be, I have to get muddy, I have to get hard, like, but I'm going to get there and I'm going to be a warrior. And like, it's such a warrior spirit. But what's so beautiful now is we're actually shifting. The entire planet has raised the vibration. So we no longer have to be fueled by any of those narratives that say we have to go through any kind of crisis. That's not how we learned. That crisis is what we thought about in the pregnancy, in the labor. It was the labor pain. It was coming into this world is look at the observer. I mean, in the hospital room, it looks like chaos. You got people screaming, there's a life coming out, everybody's freaking out. So, like, somebody walking by the delivery is like, holy shit, what's going on in there? Labels it chaotic, labels it suffering, labels it nervousness, crisis prone. And then we're like, okay, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And from there, we can just keep repeating those patterns until we learn another way. And so I love Eckhart Tolle's quote that says, suffering is only necessary until we realize that it's not necessary. But all of us have to reach that point
That's
of
the
like,
only purpose of suffering, is to
yeah,
realize it's not necessary.
to realize it's not necessary.
I was just talking to my coach about this yesterday, and I was like, the truth is that we don't learn when we're suffering and when we're unresourced. Where our focus is simply on surviving, on getting the resources we need. That's what happens during the suffering. The learning, the growth, the expansion happens when we are resourced, when we are safe, when we are comforted. Like that phrase of no pain, no gain, like, right? We live in that, like, the society has really like ground that into a lot of us. And I can't speak for everybody, but we have the no pain, no gain. The if you're in your comfort zone, you're not growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I like being comfortable. That's where I learn the most. That's where I can expand the most. That's where I can be aware. I can't be
100%.
aware when I'm fucking having a goddamn panic attack and don't know what's real and what's not, and is questioning on whether or not I need to call the ambulance to take me away to the fucking loony bin because I don't know what's real.
This is the dark night of the soul. And all of us will go through that alchemical journey of literally splitting from reality. And it's a period of psychosis. And it's
Mhm.
a period of us thinking we're completely mad because we are not adopting the trillions of dollars that society has pumped into us to be programmed. Do you know how much of a flex it is to be a sovereign being when you've got things coming from every direction that want to put you into a low vibration of nervousness,
Mhm.
of anxiety, of fear, of scarcity, of lack, of unworthiness?
Mhm.
Trillions of dollars spent just on you, just on the programming over the course of your lifetime that you will want to invest your money in the beauty industry and have somebody tell you that you're only beautiful if you don't have any wrinkles or laugh lines, you know, or we want to put our all of our medicine into the diet products as though that fake sugar is going to actually heal our body and make us slim and trim. You know, it's unbelievable how much money has been thrown at all of us in a Western society in the attempts to knock us off of our own place of paradise, to try to keep us in a place of constant forgetting,
Well, to keep us in a place of turbulence
to keep us in a place
instead
of
of
turbulence.
instead of embracing, like, and keeping us in that shadow instead
Yeah.
of embracing the gift of humanity, right?
Yeah.
Of teamwork, of coming together in group, in community, as family. Because when we are separated and believe we are separated, then that keeps us to where we are. That keeps us minimal. It keeps us believing we're minimal. And therefore, we literally live. I have this pillow, it says land of make believe.
Yeah.
Literally live in a land of make believe because what we make what we believe. And so if we're being
100%.
programmed to believe that we are separated and alone and everybody's out to get us and we're not worthy and we're not good, and there's always this constant striving towards and never getting to, then that's where our focus is. That's where our attention is.
Yeah.
And it, like, I can go on and on in the stories of why and the conspiracy theories, but none of that matters. What matters is that I had a fucking panic attack and I chose to radically self-care. I chose to radically choose myself in the face of not knowing what's going to happen by taking 3 days off of work when everything's going on and all of the things I'm juggling are going to come falling down. Like, what matters is exactly just that. Like, all of the programming I'm recognizing, like, no, now, like, I see over the years how I've stepped out of the suffering and there's even more. And hold
Mhm.
on, there's more. But wait, there's more. Right. And so now recognizing, like, oh, like, I've been doing these mental gymnastics to um make it, like, give me a reason to for this property management job to light up my soul. Fucking truth is it doesn't.
Mhm.
And the truth is that I'm too scared to leave right now because of the money, because of the support that I get from that. The other truth is that I am delving into other directions that are very taboo and very like, Jen, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we'll share a little bit more about that later, but once I get a little more comfortable in the, we'll see where the universe is taking us. I'm just listening right now and we will go from there. But yes.
I love it. I love it. And it's so interesting, how you come into midlife and there's this society narrative that we go through a midlife crisis or that we have to have this crisis in order for us to change the operating system. But really, it's like you come to a certain point of spiraling around the same patterns and expecting different results that you get tired of your bullshit at some point.
Mhm.
We all reach that point where we're like, okay, there's got to be a different way. I've got to go through
There's
this in a different way.
there's a little hummingbird that just came and like flew right next to me. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
we love hummingbird magic.
I was like, hi, friend. Hi.
Oh, I love that.
Uh,
But yeah, this midlife time is that a lot of it comes around for a Saturn return for us and in different astrological aspects where we come back. Every solar return is an opportunity for us to reflect back on the journey that we've had. I know for me, I'm feeling that deeply as we're in Pisces season again. So I've just had my birthday, and it really is that full circle as we're gearing up for the equinox now. And I'm like feeling so full of life and revitalized after the dark night of the soul that I had this winter when I told myself, oh, I've already done plenty of those. I'm not going to have any more. It's like,
no.
boom. Are you sure about that?
Uh-huh.
And every single time, I have to resource myself with nature and with deeply trusted confidants to remind me when I forget that this isn't real and
Mhm.
that I'm being too personalized and being too activated and triggered by things because it was familiar and comfortable to be triggered by them for a time. So much of this humanity is the humility to keep coming back around and recognizing this is a spiral and we're going to keep going through these until there's nothing left. And this divine essence of compassion is when you recognize, and I feel so beautifully blissful to feel in this energetics of recognizing that your story was just a part of the collective story. At this point, I can see where I become activated. I can see where I have a shortness of breath. I can feel where I have a contraction around something. But each time that I do, I also observe that I've already personally released that. And that's actually coming back in as a detector in the field to show me something that I need to know about myself and the environment. So
Yes.
it's such a collective experience now that even just a little while ago, 2 hours ago, I was really upset. Not really upset, but I was upset. My
Mhm.
partner and I were having a conversation where it felt like, in my experience, it felt like the good work that we're trying to do had a glitch coming in, had something coming in to run interference. And we had this last year with powers outside coming to this land and now having an agenda. And that's what it is, having an agenda that doesn't have full transparency to it. And both my partner and I had to sit in the place of, do you feel that? Do you feel that? There's something here.
Ooh, speaking of glitches.
For a
Mhm.
roundtable conversation.
Let it go. There you are.
Oh my gosh, my internet just knocked off to the wrong.
Well, I thought it was interesting that as you were talking about glitches and interference, that's when everything started glitching.
Um,
Mm, you're a
Can
little,
you hear me?
I can hear you. It's a little glitchy. You're kind of like,
It's now it's saying that it's connected again.
okay,
Well,
okay.
the turbulence is
The
so real.
turbulence, baby, it is real. And you're just talking about glitching and interference. Yep.
It's so
And so what do? We
oh
fucking surrender. Just allow it. Allow it to fucking happen. Like, okay, this
yeah,
is where we are. This is where we are right now.
yeah. And this is so real to share in live time. The cell phones, the electronic devices, they're so temporary. All of these electronic things, they're so temporary because they can't keep up with a high frequency. They
Yeah.
can't keep up with where we are going. And
Yeah.
I see this and I feel this and I experience this more and more and more. My phone can't keep up. My internet can't keep up with where we're going and what we're doing. As soon as I'm in a circle and we're meditating on Zoom, internet's gone.
Yeah. Same. It's the same
And
fucking
it's
thing.
just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And
like,
it's so
maybe that's
real.
why there's only a couple of people at each of the Sacred Wild gatherings that are online. Because I mean, even just me and you by yourself. We're reading the 10th insight right now, and it talks about maintaining the intuitions and the energy and like that taking us to a different dimension and a different energetic realm. And I'm like, I feel like that is the next step. Like the
We're doing it.
technology, yeah, is
We
the
are doing
stepping
it.
stone. And then at
Yeah.
some point, we're going to recognize that we don't need technology and that we just like, okay, 5 o'clock, we're going to set our intentions and then we'll meet in the ether, in the ethers. you know,
100%,
that's like
100%. These
what,
Atlantean codes are coming back for everyone now.
yeah.
Telepathy only stopped being a thing when we had hidden agendas. And when we are in fields, now when we have accessed a lot of these clair gifts, we can smell the hidden agenda. We can feel the hidden agenda because we don't have it. So it's like it's a smell. It's a thing. It's
It's
in the field of
contrast to the purification that we've gone through because there is
yeah.
no hiding. I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to be honest. And even though you may not like what I have to say, or I may not like what I have to say, I'm going to fucking say it and share it and embody it because A, it doesn't fucking feel good. I lived my whole life living by the stories or the lies or the hidden agendas or the whatever, and even from myself. And it took me a lot of fucking work to get here, and I'm not going to live any other way, even though it may not feel as good all the time. And I beg to differ. It does feel way fucking better. Um, because to be fucking honest, living in that other capacity didn't feel good at all, ever. Ever.
Yeah. The programming partner to this gene key is the shadow of conflict, the gift of diplomacy, and the divine expression of peace. So, a lot of us
Oh
that
shit.
have experienced fight or flight in places of not peace, we just want freaking peace, man. We want peace. Like that is the agenda, is peace. And when you recognize that and you actually are in places where truly that is both the personal and the collective agenda is freedom of suffering is peace, the universe just starts tower falling moments of taking everything out of your field that's not that, while we sit in that liminal place in that gestation period of I believe that I'm doing the right thing, I have nothing around to validate me, and I just have to surrender and trust and have faith in this weird liminal place.
Dude,
And
fuck. That's,
eventually
yeah.
we magnetize the thing to us. But how freaking scary that you're not going out to do it. You just have to sit in the space of sovereignty. You make a decision for the best of your ability to the truth that you had in your experience of what you needed, and everything is just going to come to that place. And that's where I'm in right now, and that's what I was sharing before is I'm in that place of there's interference. I know the clear mission. I know the contract that I have here. Let me just allow again for transparency and open communication, and then just trust that what comes here is going to be in alignment, because that's that's how pure my channel is. I trust that what comes here is in my highest alignment, and that's taken a long time to cultivate that trust. And that's had a lot of experiences of before thinking I have to burn and crash before I learn from the experience and trust myself. No, 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 not anymore. Now I can see the burning and crashing. I can smell when something's going to burn and crash, and I can remain anchored in my truth. And from that place, recognize that everything is happening for me. And then back to peace again. I feel the peace again. I feel that softening. Like you said, just going out in nature. It's like, this isn't the whole world against me.
Yeah.
Nobody's out to get me.
I literally
Nobody's
like
out to
the panic, like, so I sleep outside regularly. I have medicine mats and I just bring it outside. No tent, no anything, just on the mat in my blanket under the stars. And during that panic attack, that's what happened. I was like, no, I need to take my little, I need to sleep outside. And I've been sleeping outside almost every night since.
Wow.
And I've just been going on my hikes, and I'm gonna go paddle boarding right now after this. And um it was such a, I didn't mean to cut you off, by the way. I feel
No,
like
no, not at
okay,
all.
okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, yeah, I know.
You took care.
Um, the morning after, when I woke up outside after my panic attack, and I woke up from another nightmare, which is what I woke up from and fell into the panic attack. It was this severely humbling experience because for the last 2 years I've been living in this space, like this space of like living from love and peace and from a healed perspective. Um, the first 17 years I lived in the experience of the trauma happening.
Mhm.
And then for the next 20 years, I lived in a constant trauma response, reliving the trauma over and over and over again. That was my every single day, every waking moment, every breath was a try, was like living. Of course, I didn't realize that because it's all I'd ever known. Um, and then about 2 years ago is when I finally came out of the trauma response and was like, holy fuck, this is life.
Mhm.
Like life gets to be this? What the fuck?
I
And
felt the
just
same way.
like in this awe and wonder and the peace that came to me when I woke up on Sunday morning was this realization that, and it needed to happen the way that it did the last 2 years. But I didn't even use the word trauma all too much,
Mhm.
or I had stepped away from PTSD or CPTSD. And thank you for bringing that up. I think it was the last one or the one before where you were speaking of that. Um, and it's like I was getting acclimated to living life this way, from love and peace and okayness and the world being for me, not after me, and all the things that I forgot. I forgot that though I'm no longer living in my trauma and though I'm no longer reliving my trauma, it has changed me. It is
Yeah.
literally post-traumatic stress disorder. And
Yeah.
I have been so inconsiderate of myself and and not, and I'm not like shaming or punishing, it's an awareness, and recognizing the things that I wasn't aware that I was doing, right? Like the extreme effects stress has on my body,
Mhm.
and my nervous system, um, thinking that that was me not taking care of myself enough. I wasn't doing enough self-care, instead of this situation is not a good fit for me because of my PTSD,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Um, Certain relationships, I'm hyper aware of that hidden agenda, whether it's spoken or not, whether they're aware of it or not, because oftentimes they're not.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's a
I,
really important piece too,
yeah.
is acknowledging that it's not personal, that there's a lot of people that are so unconscious that when they do things that hurt others, it wasn't done with a malicious intent. It was deeply from their unconscious. Although for me, being highly sensitive, it was impactful as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm finally forgiving in a new way that I release them from their not knowing how that could hurt someone as well.
And that's that beautiful balanced space of boundaries
Yeah.
instead
Yeah.
of resentment.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
resentment, when I lived in it, was that place of how fucking could you? How the
Yeah.
fuck could
Yeah.
you? The
Yeah.
boundaries are the space of, no, I don't blame you. I don't judge you. I'm not here to criticize you. I am here to say that that's not okay. And from here on out, this is what this looks like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah. And so stepping into that realization and I guess embracing the part of me that I had pushed to the side for the last 2 years. Um, it's like, this is the rebirth. This is the stepping in and like remembering those parts of me. And then not knowing how that's like, I'm terrified to go back to work tomorrow
Mhm.
because I don't know what that's going to look like. Because I know how stressful it was. I know how much there was. And I tried to communicate as clearly as I could to say, I need help. I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And then, and even in that, it wasn't his intention. He wasn't intending to do it, but it's that saying he's going to do the things and then not doing it. And so now I have the thing to do, plus picking up the mess of the frustration and the anger and all the things from that person.
Yeah.
And so, like, just trying to like figure out because I can't continue to live in this like anxiety and this panic of this, let me just hold my breath until the day's done type of deal.
And you shouldn't have to. And the fact that so many of us get to these places of overwhelm. I know for you, I don't know, everything that's going on in your situation, but I know that what you've shared on the calls before is that there have been times with overwhelm at work. You're doing a lot and there's going a lot of things that are going around and you have expressed that boundary. I mean,
Mhm.
even in taking that job, here's what I will do, here's what I absolutely will not do, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow my body to go through the trauma of overwhelm. And so to have to consistently show up to meet, to say that you've crossed that boundary, you keep crossing that boundary while we're still in that fear of where's the paycheck going to come? I have to,
Yeah.
I, like there's a self-abandonment trap that we put ourselves in when it comes to needing the paycheck in order to survive in today's economy. It's so unfair and it's so important for us to name what integration really looks like is a really different journey for every single person
Yeah.
because the messages that we get from that enlightened state and then how we execute them, there's a long journey between one to the other of us really being able to fully accept that who you be is so much more important than what you do because you're refining your essence in who you be so that who you be can actually be resourced.
Right. And then it's this thing where it's like you and I, like we know the tears and the fucking dark nights of the soul and what that means, not just I'm having a hard time. No, I'm literally breaking into 1,000 pieces. My entire being is shattering. I don't know what's real. Like, and fucking being willing to stay, right? To continue to walk, because then like the reflections that I get is like, oh, I wish I could be free like you. Oh, I wish that I could. I'm like, babe, be careful what the fuck you wish for. Like, holy fuck. Because like what I'm fucking doing is like, I know in my mind that I am not allowing myself to see the not okayness that is happening of the lack of support that I'm getting because I don't have something lined up over here yet. And so I know that's how my brain's working. I know that's what's happening. And I'm going to be okay in the not seeing for right now. Right? Like I'm naming it. Yeah, it's not fucking okay. I went and yelled on my mountain. I did all the things. I cut the fucking cords. And every like 3 or 4 times a day, like I cut the cords. I fucking cut the cords. Our soul contracts are complete. If it comes to any type of fear, lessons, trauma, anything like that, we have completed our goddamn time together. We have served each other in the most beautiful way. And so if we are meant to stay in each other's lives, it is for creation and it is for
Hmm.
enjoyment. And if it's
Amen.
for anything outside of that, bless and peace.
Yeah. Two souls coming together with pure hearts are going to create a third entity.
Yeah.
And that entity can be a relationship, it could be a child, it could be a business, it could be a piece of music, it could be an offering. There are no limits to what that union can look like when two pure souls come together without the agenda on what it looks like and how it has to unfold. Just two pure hearts, just sharing space with one another. And that's where, my beloved and I are in, the conversation around is like we have a sense of responsibility on this land to maintain the highest integrity.
Yeah.
And there is such a blessing around being a place that people are wanting to come and bring their medicine. but we're still living in a patriarchal society, and a lot of people are dressed up like shamans and want to say that they're doing this great work, but there's an ego, or there's a hidden agenda. And even with these enlightened beings that we're feeling like we're around, we still have to do all of the maintenance and
Yeah.
all of the sacred prayer around. We have to say no to this because
Yeah.
that doesn't feel right. Even when it's my highest calling and my biggest dream,
Yeah.
there are times that I have to say no, and I have to look at people that I really want to be here and things that I really want to experience, and I'm saying no to them, and I'm crying, and I'm allowing myself to be sad that I thought that I was ready. I thought we had purified this, and there's interference here. And
Yeah.
I have to trust that if I acknowledge that interference and I stay in the place of waiting, that that's not the right fit, then something else is going to come that is in the right fit. Or those fractals are going to be at the operating system that they need to be to come back into resonance.
Yeah, it's so beautiful that you're speaking this because this is exactly the part that we're in the 10th insight. Literally the
Mm,
interference
mm.
and the waiting. Like there's a literal waiting room that they speak of.
Yeah, it feels like the gestation period of being in the embryo sac. Like it feels like I'm just, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just waiting.
And it's
Nothing to
and
do. Wait.
and it speaks of like and we just finished chapter 2. But it does speak of like this collective fear is what we need to transform and alchemize that is keeping us from that space. And so it feels like, and it's that same thing like that I feel like I'm experiencing too in a different way of like recognizing that fear because like just like you said, they can say the right words, they can do the practices, they can wear the shaman clothes, they can do all the things. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with John and Joey at PMI. Like they're super kind.
Mhm.
They do all the nice things. I know that the intentions that they're aware of are are good, you know.
Mhm.
Um, there's no yelling, there's no controlling, there's no shaming or guilting or
Mhm.
none of the characteristics, right? That I know and an unhealthy for me, not unhealthy in general, just unhealthy for me situation has. And so it's one of those things, it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like I thought that and then for the boundaries to just continue to get pushed and in a way that I don't even recognize until after the fact.
Mm.
And then still to be so confused because I know that there's no ill will. I know like I can feel the purity of their love and still, right? And that's that piece of like now that
Mhm.
we've gotten to the space of like of the physical and the like we know what this looks like, we know what this smells like, we know what this now we're getting into the things that are outside of the senses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like can we trust that extra sensory, that subsensory experience, the space where everything looks like it should fit
Mhm.
and the thing that we can't name doesn't? Can we trust that?
Yeah, and I even just want to just call attention to the fact that we're having dreams, that we're having really intense visions and premonitions and dreams, and they're very real. Those dreams that wake us up, that keep us up, that linger in our head, these insights they're very real to us. And how we respond to them is everything about what happens next. And there is a lot of uncertainty, and um, it's so unprecedented, so it's just a part of humanity that as we shift, Earth shifts. And as we grow and as we evolve and as we make changes and we're no longer the same person, the Earth is doing the same exact thing. That who she becomes is not who she is now. In us women, especially, we feel it, we know it, we sense it. And so the last thing in the world that we need is someone not believing that. Is
Mm,
someone not believing our panic attacks? Is someone not believing the dreams that come through or the premonitions? Because the feminine has an intuitive sense of how to respond with nature and how to keep evolving with nature when she has the freedom to be in the dark night of the soul, when she has the freedom to be in her turbulence without someone thinking that that turbulence is mad, with her recognizing that that's the spiral of her storm that she's coming out of and going to walk out differently than when she walked in. But I think I'm not a fear monger, and I don't like to share, scary things. I think there's enough fear out in the world, but we are pure open channels. And even as pure open channels, you're going to get the hits. You're going to get the insights, and this is a collective insight
yeah.
that we personalize. So those dreams bring us into that place of the most atrocious thing. And that awakening from that place is meant to keep us awake,
Awake.
right? Keep us alert, not to be hyper vigilant, to be aware,
Yeah.
right? To see when we need to make radical changes, to recognize that not everyone is going to be part of every single one of our seasons, but we get to be cyclical beings, just like the earth gets to be cyclical. And if we release someone, like you said, it doesn't mean they're not coming back. You let it go and it might come right back.
Yeah.
But this is a major part of the journey right now, to trust the things that we need to release, even when nobody validates them, even when nobody can say, yep, that checks out.
Yep.
If I have a dream and I need to go sit outside for a week to process that, then that's the most beautiful and divine way to invest your energy. And I'm even just thinking about, just like in my language too, because a lot of this has come around just my energy and how I relate to energy. Could there be finances and things like that? Um, but just looking at the way that I'm spending my energy, I only want to invest. I'm not spending on anything. I'm only investing. Every single thing needs to be an investment. What am I
Mm,
getting from this? I've spent
yes.
a lot. I've spent too much. Everything needs to be an investment for me. I invest in my relationships. I invest in my projects. I invest in my devotion. I invest in my exercise. I don't spend anymore. I'm done spending. I'm
Yes.
only
Yes.
investing.
Right there. That shifted a lot because, like, yeah, what am I investing in at the property management gig? And this is where, like, the mental gymnastics don't work for me anymore. Well, yes, you work there so it can fund the sacred wild. And no, I am not going to spend my time doing this. Like, there are other things that I can make money, and this is, or not make money, but actually, even that, like, I don't want to make money. Like, I want an energetic exchange. And so, yeah, this is that piece, like, and in that, like, I am no longer spending my energy. I'm no longer spending money, time, attention, intention. And it's scary.
It's
It's
scary
being
because people are dropping
scary.
flies in every situation. There's so many, like, if it's like, there's so many fractal patterns in front of us that we're quantum time jumping over and over and over again. Like, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the meme that has like the bulletin board with the crime
Oh
scene
yeah.
detective. It's like that, like that's all the timelines, but
Mhm.
they're only impressions. Everything is an impression right now because nothing is certain. So it's
Right.
like, and so I just launched last night my membership from Rise Wellness Village. So this is something I'm really excited about. And so I'm going to have weekly tarot readings that people can be a part of the membership for $22 a month. And they're going to get a weekly tarot reading and weekly prayer. And so that's my offering. I've been doing those offerings for years. And now I'm ready to say, I've had so many people say, "How can I support you? What are you, what, like, here's how you can support me. For $22 a month, you can support me. And then you can get 4 tarot readings, which that's way less than even one reading.
Yeah.
But that is the service. That's the investment that I want to put into a collective story because I want to keep sharing a heightened, evolved collective story around how we get through all of this. And the people that invest in that, I'm investing in their story. I'm investing in the energetic exchange that it feels good.
Yeah.
And and so this is brand new. And I don't know how many people are going to have this. And I know it's going to stay uncertain because I might have a whole bunch of people sign up for 1 month and then decide, you know what, it's not in the cards this month. So
Yes.
I know how turbulent that ride is going to be. That once again, for everything the world keeps showing me, not going to rely on that, but that's going to be another tab open with investment coming in that
Yeah.
direction. Everything for me is how can I be a river and not a well? How can I be a river
Mhm.
and not a well? It's like, okay, invest over there. That's going to come over here. This is going to go over here. I'm going to start a podcast. That's going to feed back into people's services. So I'm seeing when I can actually see the flow, the current of the energy. That's when I see my currency. I'm like, okay, I got it. I feel it. It's coming in. It's going to be
Mhm.
in these ways, and it's dicey and it's scary sometimes because it's entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
and you put yourself out there and who knows how people are going to receive it. But this is where I finally come to now to say, let me start asking for people to invest in me because
Yeah.
that's the paradigm that I'm shifting right now.
And
And
for them to invest in themselves.
into them invest in
Yeah.
themselves, and then we're all investing in this new story, in this beautiful story of how we all go into a generative economy, of how we all are reciprocal by nature, of how we all have clear intentions and transparency, and we have rites of passages with one another where we can go back into right relating. I don't have to have a crisis in order to learn from this. We can have
Yes.
completely new rites of passages. I know this is one of the things that I love about the sacred wild, instituting the rites of passages through authentic relating with each other in
Yeah.
every way that we connect is how we keep creating the new imprint of when everyone's like, how do we do this? How do we move forward? This is how authentically communicate. This
Yeah.
system's not working, so let's evolve a new system that does work. While we're watching this shit hit the fan, let's create the new thing out of the rubble.
Yeah.
It's messy, but when we all have a voice and we all say, here's what's happening, here's how I'm receiving this information, and you can tell me how you're receiving the information. We need to be able to operate with feedback. I want feedback from people, and I want to be in
Yes.
communion with people that can give me feedback. The universe
Yes.
gives me feedback all the time, and
All the
there's no
fucking time.
agenda or
Yeah.
ego. I want feedback from my peers. How can I
Yes.
help you and how can you help me? And let's
Mhm.
be real about it.
Yeah. Exactly. That right there, the feedback, like that's something that and feedback that can be understood.
Yeah.
Like clear, intentional feedback, not feedback in the form of projection or blaming or shaming, but feedback of, hey, babe, my experience of X, Y, and Z is this. And I wanted to share with you where I am. I don't know where to go from here. This is just it. Right. And having that open dialogue where we're taking accountability for our experience and no more of this, well, you did this and
Mhm.
this doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
It's my experience of this situation is bringing this up in me. And I know that's not your intention,
Mhm.
right? And to be able to fucking hold space and not just like, this is something that really, when I first heard this a while, I can't even remember when, I was just like, oh, because I did this all the time. And it's still a practice to like unweave this from my way of being, but that I'm so sorry you feel that way,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
I would say that all the time. And that was a way for me to disassociate myself from, their experience and allow their experience to, um, but it was never from this place of genuine, like, oh my God, I'm so fucking sorry that you're feeling that way. It was like, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. How can I support? Right? Instead of like, holy shit, tell me more.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Like,
How did you arrive there?
right. Like,
The
what
story
is
that
your
got you to that
experience?
way.
Tell me what your experience is. I want to hear about what this is for you.
Mhm.
I'm not in your shoes. I'm not there yet. Please share more so I can step into this with you. Right? Or saying, holy fuck, I can understand how you feel that way. And right now, I don't have the capacity to hold space without falling into an unproductive, unresourced state of being.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that type of fucking open communication
Yeah.
is,
Yeah. I'll give you a personal example of something that happened last week. With my mom, which I know, it's come up a
yeah.
lot in these conversations. And so I'm like, let's go the mom route. So,
Right. There we go.
so this is really funny. So my Pisces sun, I'm a Pisces sun in the eighth house of transformation. This is also the eighth house of resources and other people's money. So there has been a theme in my life, and I recognize how collective this theme is now. But there's been a theme in my life where I don't have the resources, but somebody around me does. And they don't want to spend the resources the way that I want them to spend the resources. And so for me, for childhood, truly the way this came in my early childhood conditioning was I had mental illness, I had depression, I had anxiety, I had PTSD. And my experience was feeling like my parents had the financial resources, but weren't getting me the help.
Mm,
And that was so there was a story that I played out for a long time of why can't I receive help? I need medicine, I need doctors, like I get me out of here. And I see them spending, 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 spending. And I'm like, why can't I have any of that? And
yeah.
so that's just been a theme in my life of it's close to me, but it's not mine, and I don't have access to it. And so I've recognized this theme throughout my life, especially with my mom, and so much external validation and codependency around waving a carrot in front of my head in order to
Mhm.
do something. So my
Yeah.
mom would say, I will buy you this if you do this. Or
Ooh.
if you get the good grades, you do this. There's a reward system around a financial gain
Right.
that was very much worked into my system. And so unpacking that has had a lot of layers for me. And last week, my mom has decided, I knew she was moving. Her and her husband recently got married and they decided they're going to move. And they've gone through a couple different houses. I haven't kept all in the loop, but I know that they found a townhouse. It's a three-story townhouse and it's fully furnished. Well, my mom's coming from a house fully furnished. And so my mom has moved several times since my dad passed 8 years ago. And each time there's been a lot of drama and crisis around it. A lot of times she's not been authentic in her communication and wanted movers and didn't say she wanted movers. So people come over and now it's moving day and things like that were just not being transparent. And so she reached out to me via text and said, I'm moving, we're moving, and we want to offer you some furniture if you want it. And my instinctual gut childhood reaction was absolutely no. I don't want anything to do with anything that would make me tied to this person. Now I'm indebted to this. I owe them. This feeling of if I do this, then there's something I have to pay for on this side. And I'm not even willing to entertain it. And it was like, absolutely no. And I didn't respond, but that was my gut reaction. And I slept on it, and this was around the new moon, and I slept on it, and I thought, well, the thing that keeps coming through to me is how can I be a river and not a well? And what I hear my mom saying and what she's expressed to me is, I've been very fortunate. I don't need these things, and I want to gift you some things. I know below the surface that my mom needs movers. She needs a U-Haul. She needs to get things out of there. She can't move it on her own. So she needs help, but she doesn't know how to ask for help. So she's going to say, I'll give you this if you come over and help move me. So when I see the workings of what's behind, then I have authentic communication with my partner. I said, look, here's the deal. My mom wants to get rid of some things, but I am afraid of what tie this could be. But I'm also thinking of our community, and I'm thinking of the space holding that we're doing, and I'm thinking of the outdoor patio furniture that would really help us for the next ceremony. And so I'm like really thinking of like if we had this, that would actually help us because we've been looking for that. So I'm like seeing all of these things. So I end up my partner and I go out to my mom's house. We have eye to eye physical space. We're with her and we're asking her authentically, how can I help you? And how can you help me? And how can we help one another with what we're at? And let's be transparent around what we really need. And my mom was finally honest to say, I need help moving. Okay, you need help moving. So, what furniture do you need help moving to this place? What furniture do you want to have released? And, it came into us saying, we wouldn't take all of this furniture, but we have places that we could donate it to. We have family members and people that would very much benefit from this. Are you okay with that? If you're okay with releasing this furniture, if you're okay with having us get the U-Haul and move the furniture out, are you okay if we gift this furniture to somebody that could really use it? And it stopped my mom completely in her tracks because that's not what she wanted. She wanted us to be tied to her forever and for her to say, oh shit. She came up with a creative solution. And we both took some time to sit with it. I said, I want you to sleep on it. This is extremely generous. If you're going to gift this expensive table and this expensive, that's very generous of you, Mom. So I'm naming it. I'm acknowledging the generosity. I see the greater input here is she wants to do something from love, and the only way she knows how to relate is through the material. So she wants to connect with us. I have to understand she doesn't connect with me in the way that I wish that she could connect with me with, which is authentic. But I see there's a thread here. I see there's an opportunity here. If I can release my attachment to how it all goes. And so by sharing the space with her, by hanging out for a little bit, and Rob was there with me, and we could actually get an idea of what's going on, we could come out of that a couple days later to say, we will rent a U-Haul. We will help you move these things. And for her, she was like, as long as it's going to Rob's family, as long as it's going to people and people that'll benefit it in the community. My mom's like, I want to know where it goes. I need the peace of mind to know. And my mom has her own embedded traumas around money. And so for my mom's like, don't you dare go selling these things. Don't you dare go donate this to a homeless shelter. Like, don't you dare. And it's like, okay, I feel, I see, I know the boundary. Don't sell this for a personal gain, but use this because I gave it to you. And if I can release that and if I can be in that paradigm, then we could both be a river and not a well. And both of us could gift things to people that really need it. And both of us get to be in that energetics of love and connection, even when it doesn't look like the way that it has before. We are now recreating a way of relating to one another. And both of this, my mom was able to say, "Bless you. I'm praying that this is going to the right place. This makes me feel really good. Thank you for gifting me this opportunity."
Mm,
For me to say, "Thank you for gifting me these resources so that I could give this opportunity to these people. Thank you for meeting me here. Thank you for being authentic with your needs. We can help you move. We can get the U-Haul as long as we can gift these to the people that really need them." And when we can be clear about it, we're creating a new relationship. And I know that there's going to be a little thing, like there's still going to be some things like, where did it go? And, but like, we're in real time, we're evolving and we're recognizing, like, when we can be transparent through what we need, we can come into right relation with one another. We can have connection with one another. This relationship still has the promise of evolution in there, even when it's uncomfortable for both of us.
yeah. Yeah. And that's that piece, right? Is being transparent with what we need. And there's times where we don't always know what we need.
Totally.
And so being
Yeah.
transparent with that, like there have been so many times, like I'm in the overwhelm and John's like, well, what do you need? I don't even know. Like
You said
I'm
it
at
right
the point
there.
where
And
I don't even know.
I'm in the overwhelm. I'm
Yeah.
just in the overwhelm. I need time to figure out my overwhelm right now. Like, as
Mm,
if
yeah.
there's something that you can take off the list, maybe that helps with the overwhelm right now. If you can give me a new job or a salary.
Right.
But yeah, you're so right. When we are in the overwhelm, we need to shut down. We need to
Mhm.
completely shut down. We need to completely reconnect with nature. We need to completely give ourselves the compassion of recognizing we're in the turbulence.
Yeah.
We're in the overwhelm. I'm not alone in this. I don't have to personalize it that the world is out to get me because everybody's in their own shitstorm.
Mhm.
But when
Dude.
we, yeah,
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say how awesome of your mom to be willing to like how awesome of you guys to come up with this creative solution and be able to name like
yeah,
what is going on and create a space for her to be open and honest with that, right?
yeah,
And then how awesome of her to be open and honest and then to be open to a new way, a way in which everybody wins, you know? That's amazing. That's amazing.
I am so grateful that we can even be entertaining these kind of conversations because, I mean, 2 months ago, I didn't even think this was possible. So, I
Yeah.
mean, the things that are happening, the quantum timeline jumping is very
Yep.
real. This is lifetimes of work that
Yeah.
have been, I literally felt in my body last week. I felt forgiveness for my mom. I
Yeah.
felt it in every cell of my being. And I've gone from everything to being the remembrance of my birth, which was deeply traumatic, to the abortion that I had in releasing motherhood, to reparenting myself to be my own mother
Mm,
while releasing my human mother, and to now come back around as my own mother, mothering my mother while being again the child to my mother, recognizing that we all want connection and maternal love. It was never about material love, but there's still some delusion in the space. And I have just had so much peace and recognizing that even when I worry and even when I stress, it's for love. I want my mom to have peace. I
mm,
wish my mom didn't have to go through such external validation to get peace. But at this point, I can stop judging how she's receiving her peace because right now, she just bought her dream home and she just got married to a guy that she really loves. And who am I to disrupt her peace, even if it's not the way that I would have gotten there? Because now, from her achieving that, now we get to work on our piece together.
Yeah.
And that's unbelievable. Greatest
Yeah.
gift of all.
Right there. That's that piece is like it's not for us to know what anybody else's idea or experience of perfection in this life is. It's
Yeah,
only for us to know what ours is.
totally.
And like I got to that point too of just like these last few times I went to go visit my mom, it's been so beautiful to just be with her, like in whatever, watching CIS or Dancing with the Stars, listening to her complaints and and it's part of her now. It's
Yeah.
not a testament to how bad I am or how not good enough I am or how wrong I'm doing it or anything. It is her. And I get to come back and say, "Oh, mom, what's wrong?" Even though I know. And I know she's going to come back with this big long story. And I'm going to be like, "Oh, no, that's so sad, mom." It's part of the role. I am not resisting it anymore. I know that's how she receives love. And it
Yeah.
may not be how I receive love, but it's
Yeah.
not about me receiving love in that moment. It's about me offering it and finally allowing myself to get out of my own way because I gave myself the ability to find my own worth. My worthiness and value comes from me and nobody else. And now I get to see, oh, this is just how she receives love. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. We'll
What a
talk about the
beautiful.
weather and your air fryer and talk about your insulin issues and all the things.
Mhm.
Okay, let's do it. I'm
Yeah.
here for it.
The ultimate tolerance, the ultimate understanding. And that was for me, like, that was such a game changer for me to understand my mom's gene keys, for me to understand the co created curriculum that we had. Thank Goddess for my mom because she led me to a place of enlightenment. And
Yes.
now this equinox falls on my dad's birthday, and it's the most magical portal of rebirth. And I'm just like so constantly blown away at how divine everything has been after all the dark nights of the soul and after all the places of being with and mourning and grieving all of the lives that I didn't get to live and all of the lives that I'll never live and all the people that I had to lose in order to get to this place. It feels unheard of to think that my father's loss has brought me to a place of peace because you have to go a long way to think of a suicide as peace on the other side. But 8 years later, my parents, both of them, have been instrumental in me attaining a place of enlightenment. And from this peace now, in the forgiveness that I have in my heart and the compassion that I have for this human journey, I wouldn't change any of it.
Yeah.
I wish I would have learned a little bit longer ago, but that's okay. All in divine time. I'm still
Okay.
patient. This is the Taurus moon, and this is my vocation is to like come into my own career, my own prosperity. It was going to take me a little bit longer than the rest of them.
Oh yeah, authentic pace. There's no wrong pace ever.
Yeah,
There's no wrong time. There's no right time. There just is, right? And
that's
that keeps ringing true. Like there just is.
literally my core wound, the divine expression of justice to
Yeah,
recognize it just
just
is.
is.
The shadow of limitation. I can say I was cheated. I can say I was robbed. I can say all the things on where I was limited. But every single one of those limited created for me an entire new reality. And that reality was my imagined state that I birthed into fruition for all the prayers and all the times that I spent at my altar imagining a new way of being. And now I get to actually play this out with my mom. I
Yeah,
actually get to relate to her in a new way of being. And secret sauce, I also have my partner with me too. And there's a new level of embodiment that both and I can show up to have when she can also see I have a team with me,
yeah,
right? You don't play the same, we're not playing by the same rules that we were in childhood now.
yeah,
I come with my boundaries and I will even bring my guardian angel with me
yeah. Yep.
just to make sure.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's beautiful. Fucking
Mm.
beautiful. Mm,
Yeah, it's a fucking wild ride though.
yeah.
Wild ride becoming human and forgetting and having
And
to go through all the
remembering.
suffering just to remember again. Just to remember, oh shit, this is literally the age-old story.
Or it's
Age-old
like, oh
story.
shit, I already knew this. Fuck. I did
Yeah.
know this. Yeah. I already
Yeah.
knew that I didn't know and that I'm
Yeah.
okay. And that nobody else knows either. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And like how humbling humanity is to recognize nobody knows what the fuck they're doing.
Nope. Not a
Nobody.
single damn person. Not
Not
one
even
of
the
us.
not even I'm like meeting all these people that have been studying with medicine for millions of years and coming in. I'm like, there's still a reason that we're evolving things.
Yeah.
There's
Nobody fucking knows. And that's the thing, like, we're not meant to fucking know. We're meant to
yeah, my
experience,
story is the mystery.
embody, fucking
Yes.
be. Mm,
Yeah. This ring that we're in, this ring of humanity, this is grace, this is compassion, this is tenderness, and this is
tenderness.
truth. That is what it is to be human.
Yeah.
Those four ingredients are what it is to be human. Tender, compassion, grace, and authenticity, truth.
Mm,
That that is you, my friend.
mm. Reflected right back to you, baby.
Hmm. Happy 333.
Happy 333. Mm.
I
I love
love you.
you so much. Thank you for my midweek therapy session.
Thank you for my celebratory sister session.
Yes, I like that better. Celebratory sisters again. That's what this needs to fucking be. We call it the gene keys. Really, though, what it is.
Yeah, it's our sister sessions.
Yep. Fucking love it.
I fucking love it too.
Enjoy your week, babe. I love
You too.
you.
I love
Thank
you.
you for being exactly you.
Thank you for being exactly you. And thank you for coming back to social media so I can even feel you. I can sense of this community. Right now. We get to use this medium. So
Yeah.
thank you for allowing me to feel you in between sessions.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I already had a post taken off of TikTok. Not for what I thought. Like the picture of me naked is still on there. But and I've done fire eating before, but it said it's something about ingesting harmful substances is not allowed on. I'm like, fair enough. Fire is a harmful substance to ingest. Okay. But really?
Okay.
So I don't know.
Wow.
We'll see.
Well,
Because
that's
I've
what blood
posted
for the
other fire
sacred
eating
water.
videos. Yeah,
That's wild.
it's all
Well,
right.
keep it for the platform then.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it only took me a month, so I'm proud. Proud.
All right, babe. I'll see you next week.
Okay, love you. Mwah.